Hello everyone. I am Darkness, and with how much I actually tell people to call me Steven now, when they actually get to know me, maybe one of these days I'm actually going to have to change the name of my channel, but that's not the point. I'm doing a little vlog here, and these are going to get more usual. I don't know what to name them. I've got to have a recurring name. Maybe A Day in the Life of Darkness, but a life of darkness. Well, I'm off to a great start. This sounds really, and it's gonna get even more down because I've got to actually tell you guys something that's really important, and you guys need to know what's going on and how things are growing and how things are developing and all that jazz. So this is kind of like an update, but it's not the happiest of updates because you guys might have heard about something from other YouTubers. I'm not the first to cover this. I just kind of found it out for myself that that something was going on, and when I looked it up, all of a sudden I found out, oh, this is something other people are going through. This really sucks for everyone. So here's the deal. Let me give you the lowdown. There has been a change for YouTube. It's partly to make YouTube more family friendly because there are a lot more younger folks getting on YouTube. I know you're supposed to be 13 years of age to be able to get on here, but let's face it. There's an app called YouTube Kids, and there's plenty of parents that are giving their iPads and stuff over to their kids to be able to watch YouTube on. And so it's like kind of kid-friendly, family-friendly type deal that's going on. I know I did the mistake of letting Rowan have an adult account until I turned on parent stuff. Whoops, didn't mean to hit that. And he found me. Rowan should not watch me yet. But with that said, he's like 4. There's a big difference. But there's been a push for YouTube to be more family friendly. The other part is that there's been a push for YouTube to make some changes because it was March, I believe, end of March. There was an announcement that was made that advertisers didn't want to be associated with some things on YouTube. Now, I didn't really make the correlation that YouTube was trying to put out there for us to grasp. I didn't make the correlation because I guess my videos hadn't been hit yet. I hadn't been affected quite yet. And some of that was because you guys had been so nice when I had on like super chat funding and things like that, which was making it look as if my revenue was staying sort of the same, and it was a little deceiving, and I guess I didn't put it all together. But here's the deal. Let me lay it out for you guys. Some brands didn't want to be associated with some things on YouTube. The biggest complaint about brands wanting to pull out of advertising on YouTube was violence. From what I understand, could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong because this is why there's a trickle-down effect that affects YouTubers like me right now. So they didn't want to be involved with violence, human violence. Now, that's really understandable. I wouldn't want my ad being played right before somebody beats somebody else to death. Like, that is a horrible thing. Why would I want my brand ever associated with? And people were making a lot of money. There's a big scandal with, I mean, everyone knows about that father who was abusing his kids on camera now. And, you know, he just had 2 kids taken away out of his custody, if I saw the news correct, this past week. And he was making $300,000 to $400,000 a year off of his YouTube channel. So, you know, it's kind of like the backlash from things like that, that brands didn't want to be associated with abuse. Brands have been paying him money to abuse his kids. That makes sense. Don't be associated with that. Here's what ended up happening. This is a biggie. So what ended up happening was that any violence in general could be a category for not playing, for companies not to play their ads on. Any sort of violence. Well, in my opinion, violence in a video game and violence in real life are 2 separate things. There are awful videos on YouTube that break terms of service, that are real people abusing other people, real people getting hurt, maimed, or killed. That is a big deal to not want to be associated with that. But then there's also horror games, and it's a game, and it's fake violence. Like, it can still make you cringe, you can still empathize, and you can still have a lot, but you know, this is a study that's long since come and gone, when video games in the 90s were blamed for violence, the same time that things like Marilyn Manson was blamed for like suicides and deaths, and they're trying to find this correlation. Parents are trying to figure out if violent video games. This is before things could look lifelike. Even this is the time of the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, or getting on your Sega Genesis, and there's violence on there, and they're doing studies. And now we have things that are like human analogs look really, really convincing many times. But even back then, when they're doing these studies, they're finding out there's not really a correlation between the violence growing in these populations that play games like that and violence in real life. There's just not, it's just not there. Same with the music. It's almost as if, I don't know, kids are letting out steam and venting. What a novel concept that a game actually brings you some kind of enjoyment or something like that, that lets you relax, blow off steam, and maybe instead not take out actions against other people. Now, there's always an exception, and I hate it when people point out exceptions as if it's the rule. You can go Google and find exceptions. That's the easy part, because the exceptions get promoted all over the place. News media outlets like to find the exception because that makes good news. But good news is not what really happens all the time. So if it's like 99.9% of the population is just fine, but then one kid does something stupid and blames it on a video game, all of a sudden people start going, oh, it's proving the rule. No, it's proving the fact that there's almost always a statistical deviation from the norm, the average, the mean of what most people do. But this isn't how most people look at things. Kind of take, for example, PewDiePie doing the stupid thing he did, and Disney pulling out and YouTube canceling his show. Yeah, it wasn't the most sensitive thing to do. Yeah, it was kind of, he should have thought it out more. Was it a joke? Obviously. Did a certain news outlets take it as a joke? No, they actually made news out of it, trying to find the fact that he's some bigot that he's not. Which is shame on them, because they made people lose jobs. PewDiePie's still there and kicking. The people that were producing his show aren't. The people that were working on the show aren't. And the people that, kind of were starting to surround him and were getting pretty much revenue themselves off of helping him with what he does, even though he doesn't get too much help, they might have been cut. But PewDiePie is still kicking. So what did you do with the news article? You made an exception, looked like a rule of how someone was acting, and you screwed everyone else over. But I'm getting off topic. So this is all to say that violence got grouped in a big lump sum of things that you could click as saying, don't play my ads here. I don't like that. Well, what's in the violent category? Yeah, video game violence is in there. What are most horror games kind of based around? Well, a scary atmosphere and violent actions. That's kind of what makes horror. There's a type of horror that's kind of psychological and bone-chilling, but still, even usually psychological horror comes with the threat of bodily harm, or mental torture, which both of those things, if it were a video on humans, let's say a dad who abuses kids of mental torture, yeah, don't do it. If it's a game about being in space, fighting off aliens, if it's a game about being in a village where radio waves are driving people crazy, and whatnot, and somebody's having hallucinate. If it's a game about, I don't know, there being a zombie virus, then all of these things are not the things that we should be focusing on. Those aren't the things that they're... Have you ever gone to a movie? Let's say it's a comedy, and you're watching the previews for that movie. And you just look the next time you go. You see these films that are for... You're there to see a comedy. There's a preview for a kid's film. It's just stuck in there. There's a preview for an action film. There's a preview for a horror film. And then there's another preview for one or two more comedies. And then it kicks into your show. Are you going to walk out because of those ads? Do those ads... It's non sequitur. It does not follow. Those ads are there to promote things other than what you're there to see. The promotion is still getting in front of eyes. And anyone that's actually in advertising knows any type of exposure is usually good exposure. Because psychology says that once you forget about the ad itself, the fact that the name is stuck in your head will always have a pseudo kind of good correlation, even if you can't remember why it should be a good correlation. So what point am I trying to get at? Well, I'm getting at the point that there's something really stupid happening here, and it's not right. YouTubers are being affected. How affected? Let me give you some numbers. My Resident Evil 7 video that did the best about the unlocks and secrets, which people, please just check the comments to see that I made corrections or the cards or whatnot. Stop commenting and saying you got something wrong. Yeah, I was one of the first people that made the video. No one had it 100% right, but I thought I kind of did. But, you know, made one or two mistakes. I fixed them. That video, first quarter, before these changes affect, that was a 3-digit income for me and a charity channel. Great. Even splitting it in half, it was still 3 digits. Great. That's awesome. I'm glad that happened. It benefited the American Brain Tumor Association. It benefited me for keeping this channel alive. Let's look at second quarter and what Outlast 2 has done. So Outlast 2 has some pretty good views on it for my channel, for a small channel that just broke 16,000 subscribers. And the ending, my theory, my story theory on what happened is in 6 digits for views. Okay, that's getting toward what that unlocks and secrets for Resident Evil 7 should be. The ad revenue should be about the same. The percentage watched is about the same. Everything is kind of lining up. I have made grand total of $19. $19. That's right, folks. With every video I've done for Outlast 2, plus that video in 6 digits for views, I have not yet paid for the game Outlast 2. That is literally getting toward having a 90% pay cut. 90%. I cannot do this off of 10%. This is really wrong. What am I going to do about it? Well, I don't think vlogs can get that kind of thing. And I've been talking about doing vlogs, telling you guys what's going on, you know, just sharing stuff of life with you guys. I'm going to get back on that. I'm going to get back on that idea. There's another thing that is currently happening. I'm going to try to get more on live streaming. I had a plan for a schedule. That schedule just got flubbernucked because there's a possibility for live streaming, for tips to be there, to be able to make donations for charity and to help keep the channel running. Might have to lean on that a little harder than I ever wanted to until this gets sussed out. And it better, because otherwise I stay screwed. And, you know, getting screwed might be fun every now and then, but constantly gets old. So, there's going to be some changes. I'm going to try to get on the vlogs like this one. Not all of them are going to be serious topics where I have to go off and say that bad things are happening. But, you know, sometimes bad things do happen and we've got to talk about it. So you guys are now in the know of why some things might not have posted. I was already having to figure out how to work with Nintendo with things like Legend of Zelda. I hadn't done it yet. That I thought was bad enough. This is this is much worse. Thanks guys for giving me a chance to talk. I will be doing more things, trying to give you guys more updates about how things are going. But for right now, this is being dubbed the YouTube ADPOCALYPSE, by the way. It's a just name. It's a just name for what it's doing to YouTubers like myself and others. The biggest difference, though, let's point this out, that a really big YouTuber getting a 10% pay cut. Well, if you're talking about 7 digits that they can pull in, getting close to 7 digits, even in the mid 5 or 6 digits, you know, a 10% of what they're getting is still enough for me to have a house, raise a son, do all these things. For me to only get 10%, I wasn't making it in the first place with what I'm doing on my channel. Now it's like, how do I even... So there you go. YouTube ADPOCALYPSE, it's real, and it's screwing us in the butt. So thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna get on more things here soon. I'll give you guys more updates. Hopefully, I can make this into a morning thing, so maybe you can watch my vlogs earlier instead of later, when I'm probably doing things like live streaming or actually posting video game videos. You know, the things that I was doing that were actually making a difference in the world, and now don't mean shit. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy some other things that I've done. Even if it doesn't make revenue right now, it's still out there, hopefully to make you guys smile, give you a respite from your own life, from your own problems, daily things, daily chores. So hopefully that's still the case when you go and watch something. So thank you so much for listening. That's like the 4th time I said thank you, but I really do mean it from the bottom of my heart. All 16,000 of you that believe in me enough to hit that subscribe button, it really does mean a lot. And I guess I will see you guys in the next whatever I do, however I need to do it to make this channel survive, really, really soon. Bye!